I have my guest seated in studio. I have Samuel Nate George, who's the MP of Ningo Pram Pram. Good morning, Samuel.
Morning, Dave.
It's good to have you here.
Pleasure.
I don't think I've ever had the honor of hosting you.
No, first time.
Yeah.
So let me say, it's my first time this year here also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Let me say Happy New Year to you and welcome to the show. You came to meet me here. And a very good morning to our viewers.
Yeah. All right. Let me also introduce my other guest to you. He's Andrew Mercer, who is the MP of 2nd D. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, man.
How are you doing?
By His grace.
Fantastic. It's good to have you here.
Always a pleasure. First time as well.
Yes, it is.
But I've been here this year.
Yes, you have.
I was here last week.
Last week you were here, yes. Fantastic.
He's been missing in action.
I hear he was a permanent feature for a while, so I don't know what happened. But anyway.
The production team and Jifa said they didn't like
They didn't like you at that point. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure.
But they didn't say I was substandard.
I'm sure it's a New Year's resolution to try and amend their ways to get you back. So
I shall petition the court of summons.
All right, okay, let's get into our first topic.
You can trust Sam George to be mischievous at all times.
Hey, you've started already. We haven't started the show yet. The topics haven't been released yet. Look, I was actually warned that this morning is going to be very exciting. So I'm looking forward to it.
My body.
Okay, I know.
Let me say good morning to our cherished viewers as well, and to use this opportunity to congratulate the Honorable Information Minister, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, for his elevation, or if you like, or his nomination as a world leader by the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
I think it's a very commendable feat. Thankfully, some of us are over 40, so but it's a very good, and I think we need to celebrate him for that feat.
Yeah, wish him well.
Yeah.
Wish him well.
Yeah.
Our colleague in Parliament, keep blazing the trail. It just needs to be a little more factual and honest when it comes to government.
You guys, look, so let's start. Let's get into the topics. You guys are already stirring the waters. All right, so coronavirus outbreak, that's the first conversation we're going to have. The government has provided $100 million to enhance preparedness. I'm going to quickly read the story to you from citynewsroom.com, and then we'll come back and have the conversation. All right, so $100 million has been provided to enhance coronavirus preparedness. This is from the President Akufo-Addo. It says here, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, says he has directed the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, to make available the cedi equivalent of $100 million to enhance Ghana's coronavirus preparedness and response plan. This amount, according to President Akufo-Addo, is to fund expansion of infrastructure, purchase of materials and equipment, and public education. Delivering an address to the nation on Wednesday, 11th March 2020, the President explained that with the declaration by the WHO of the coronavirus disease as a pandemic, it is important that Ghana steps up her preparedness to ensure that beyond the initial measures that have been put in place, a whole of Ghana approach is adopted in preparation for a possible hit within the country's borders. All right. So let me start with you, Andrew. It seems like, okay, so initially there was a request for 35 million Ghana cedis. And then I think Parliament made available 2.5 million initially, and then later added 11 million. This is quite a massive jump from that, to let's say over 500 million Ghana cedis. I'm sure this is enough, but do we have the money available? Is it available?
Well, I have never been in doubt that in the event that this disease hits our shores, government was going to do whatever it takes to protect the people of Ghana. Never been in doubt. Indeed, I don't recall that there was a request for 35,000.
35 million.
35 million. What I do know is that the WHO rep in Ghana
Yes.
indicated that
Yes.
we're going to
That's what it
require
was
some
gonna take.
35 million
Yeah.
to prepare for adequately for the eventuality of the COVID-19 hitting our shores. Of course, at that time, it hadn't even landed in Africa. And so some preliminary assessment was made. Government made some initial 2.5 million available. Subsequently, another $2 million equivalent, which was in excess of 10 million. Of course, subsequently, because this is an evolving situation that changes on a daily, hourly basis, if you like.
Literally.
Government has now, because it's come close home, we have reported cases in Ivory Coast, in Burkina Faso, in Togo, of course, in some other sub-Saharan African countries where Ghanaians frequent. It's
Congo and so on.
entirely possible that this disease will hit us. Indeed, some 50 suspected cases that have all been tested came out negative. But you can never say that, we're going to be excluded. And so because of the proximity of the disease now to our shores, government, as expected, has stepped up and has indicated to the finance minister, as the president announced yesterday, to provide up to $100 million CD equivalent, which comes to some 540 million, if you like, to make sure that we adopt a countrywide approach. Of course, some work has been done, some meetings have been held. Ghana Health Service, I understand, met all the regional directorates sometime last week or early this week to, as it were, discuss the steps that needed to be taken to ensure that if it hits any part of Ghana, they were prepared to handle it. And I'm sure that the logistics that will be required have all been discussed. And so this funding that His Excellency the President is bringing available, of course, it's an exceptional item because it wasn't budgeted for. And so if there is no sufficient funds within the miscellaneous expenditure that government have, to deal with emergencies like this, that I would expect that the finance minister will come back to Parliament to seek some additional approval as expeditiously as possible to make sure that these funds are made available to the appropriate agencies to ensure that whatever is required to be put in place to minimize the impact of the corona when it hits is put in place so that the greater majority of the Ghanaian people, particularly those in the vulnerable bracket, are not impacted adversely. And so it's exciting, of course.
Do you have a sense
Sometime
of-
last week, some of our friends were trying to do politics with a health emergency, global health emergency.
How so?
And suggested that government, rather than putting funds in ensuring that Ghanaians were protected, was rather making funds available to the Electoral Commission. And that priorities were not properly aligned. The president, rather than staying in Ghana, was traveling around the world, as if to say they are not aware that some of these international engagements take a long time to plan. And so if there is no immediate threat which requires that you make alternative arrangements or cancel, then it will be expected that our head of state would engage on those international trips to ensure that the relevant benefits that this state, at all times when presidents travel, we get some benefit. And so it's unfortunate, but I guess that
I want you to just
going
quickly-
forward,
Yeah.
Sami is a decent politician and will do the needful and admit that indeed government has done what is right.
Okay. I want you to just quickly
yeah,
comment
sure.
on the disbursement of these funds. Do you have any sense of how we are likely to spread this money? I mean, in terms of because he mentioned education, he mentioned
Some infrastructure, equipment,
so
I'm sure test kits
Yeah.
and all that. But of course, I mean, the technocrats will have to deal with the details, to ensure that, as the president indicated, the entire country is sufficiently tooled through the designated health service institutions that would be tasked to manage the breakout of this disease, to have whatever it takes to bring the situation under control.
Okay, all right. So, George, what do you make of this? I mean, like I said earlier on, we've been sort of talking about this for a while, and the day that the WHO declares it as a pandemic, the president, jumps to the aid of the nation, as it were, and says this amount of money he's declaring that the Minister of Finance should make available immediately. A good move forward.
Let me say a very good morning to our viewers, the good people of Ningo Pram Pram, to my colleague and friend Ejapa Mesa, and yourself. Corona-19 or COVID-19 or whatever it is called is clearly a global pandemic. It appears the world is playing catch-up. Many of us thought that the WHO should have declared this a pandemic very long time ago. It was obviously clear from the signals that happened from Wuhan, and then when the epicenter in Europe developed in Italy, that this was clearly a global pandemic. The WHO sought to downplay the effect. Well, chickens have come home to roost. Some of us also held the view that our government should have been a lot more proactive, should have taken a more proactive step towards dealing with this situation. You see, it's easy for people to say that we may not have cases, and it is my hope and belief that we do not have cases here in Ghana. However, you realize that cases can only be determined when they are taken to the hospital. Most of the initial symptoms of this COVID-19 are similar to many of the flus that we have here. Many of us know that most people will not take a regular flu to the hospital. And so the threat and risk to us in this part of the world is real, present, and continuous. In Europe and other parts of the advanced world, flu is a major issue for them. I mean, normal flu that we have here in Ghana, that everybody, you just go and take night nurse or day nurse, it kills over 300,000 people across the developed world. And so for them, anybody who shows the slightest symptoms rushes to the hospital. It enables their systems to be able to keep track of whatever it is, whether it's a regular flu or whether it's COVID-19. In our situation, you cannot be so sure what it is. I mean, a lot of people have runny noses every time or are coughing every time in our system. And so those are real challenges that we have to contend with. I hold the view that it's fair and square that our president has eventually come around to realize the need for us to have a national response and dedicate $100 million US dollars to the measures that are being taken. For me, as a taxpayer and as a member of parliament, my interest is in knowing what's going into that 100 million. He couldn't possibly have just mentioned the figure off the top of his head. Some work has gone into it. I believe that the people's representatives need to know whether government can cover this from its miscellaneous budget or not. Parliament needs to be briefed by the finance minister on what is going into the 100 million. I am a little skeptical, and I would want to be proven wrong by ensuing events. I do not trust this government 100% when it comes to accountability of funds. Why do I say so? When we had the armyworm infestation, which was again a threat to our agric sector, when we summoned the agric minister to come to Parliament and brief us on the issues and expenditures that happened during the armyworm infestation, we were told that 8 million Ghana cedis was spent on procuring insecticides, and another 8 million Ghana cedis was spent on public sensitization. Now, I came and sat in this studio and said, Omni Media is one of the biggest media enterprises. I asked if Omni Media had received even 1 cedi as part of the 8 million that government claimed to have spent on publicity against the army worms, and Omni Media did not receive anything. And so I asked quite sarcastically that I don't know if it was that the ISD vans were sent to the farms, and then the loudspeakers were put on, and then they said, hey, army worms, run away from Ghana. I mean, if that was what the 8 million was about, because, I mean, major media houses, and not just City, I mean, across the media landscape, very few media houses could say that, yes, we received X amount in terms of placed advertisement. So when you hear that $100 million is going to be spent, and one of the major line items is education, we want to know what form of education is this. We're told the Ministry of Information will lead that charge. How much is going into education? How much is going into the procurement of medical consumables? How much is going into infrastructure? How much is going into the testing kits? We need to know all of this. It's the people's money. We need to be able to account and be able to do a follow-up to ensure that true value has been achieved. The threat is real and present. Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, and Togo have all recorded their first cases, their index cases. And so, for me, I just want to urge everyone using your platform who's watching us to be mindful. Yes, the edge to shake hands, which is our default position, exists as Ghanaians. But this morning,
I almost shook your hand.
Yeah,
this
you
morning.
came with your hand, and I came with my leg. You know, my brother Bobo came in. I saw him and Charlie. I normally would have shaken hands and then maybe hugged each other. But you see, I gave him my foot and said, Charlie, Bobo, with you. I mean, it's best that we take precaution because the reality is, given the system, the social makeup of Ghana, if, God forbid, this enters here, it's going to become a major pandemic. Let me use this platform again to appeal to all religious bodies. Because if you look at South Korea, over half of the cases in South Korea emanated from one church. One church. Over half of the cases, over 15,000 infections from one church service. It's a huge church. They meet in a stadium. And so you can imagine the numbers. One person got in there, infected the church members. 15,000 cases have been traced to one church. Okay. For those of us who are members of mega churches in Ghana, I attend a mega church, and I'm grateful to say that on Sunday when I walked into church, I saw several new hand sanitizer spots that had come up and all. That's my church, Perez Chapel. I want to hope that the Ministry of Health would help all churches and mosques to have, I mean, many of the churches you go, they say, turn to your neighbor and shake a hand, you know, welcome a neighbor. These are things that we need to put a hold on. We need to be careful about, because it's easy for these things to spread in places like that, churches, mosques, places where there are huge gatherings, funerals and all of those things. As a funeral, MPs, we are susceptible. You can't go to a funeral and you will go and greet all the family elders and shake hands. These are things that we need to be mindful about. And I mean, we saw this during Ebola, and we're able to manage it. We should be able to do that right now too.
I'm sure you want to say something, but I'll come back to you after a short break. Okay. So let's take a short break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And remember that the hashtag is Breakfast Daily, and the number to WhatsApp us on is 0550-585-832. If you happen to be outside Ghana, kindly use the country code +233 for us to hear what you're saying. So we were talking about the coronavirus outbreak and our preparedness as a nation. St. George made his last submission. I'm going to go and talk to Andrew Mercer and see what he has to say in response. Yes.
See, I don't have any comment on the assertion that the WHO should have declared this disease a pandemic
a while ago.
way earlier, because I don't have the technical competencies to make that determination.
Okay.
I think that they are better placed to have assessed the situation, and they've been providing weekly, daily briefings throughout. And so on that score, I think that I'll leave it for the technical people to make an assessment. But you see, if you suggest that government should have been more proactive. What really are you talking about? We've had 3 briefings in Parliament.
Okay.
The Ghana Health Service has issued statements practically weekly on our state of preparedness. His Excellency the President, when he returned back from his most recent tour, visited some establishments that had been put in place to deal with the issue. In any event, you see, it's not like...
And to be fair to you, actually, to be fair, yesterday we read a comment that Professor Kosia Domako Ampofo had made, and she said between the 3rd and 7th of March, she had traveled through 7 countries, and Ghana was the only country that had the level of heightened preparedness at the airport when she arrived. So, I mean, I think
good news.
It's a fair point.
But you see, look, it's not like we have some huge sums of money sitting down that even though the disease is in China, in Europe, in some places, there's been no detected case in your country. Then you go about buying logistics. Look at the American situation.
But isn't 100 million a bit over the top, though? Because the WHO says 35 million is enough.
That was at the time. At the time. This was February 14th.
Okay, but it's also towards preparedness.
Yes, but towards preparedness. His Excellency the President has indicated that, look, this thing is so close now, we need to scale up our rate of preparedness to ensure that we have whatever it takes in place to ensure that in the event that it lands here, we can deal with it.
Okay, but 4 or 5 times the amount, fair enough, but not more than 10 times the amount.
But making a provision for that kind of preparedness doesn't mean you're going to spend all the money in one day or even in 1 month.
Okay, but doesn't...
Okay, but this is the sum of money that, as a country, we've dedicated for the fight against coronavirus.
Okay.
Okay, now, you see, Jata, I know you like to jab, and it's exciting to jab. But if you say that you don't trust the government with accountability, you appointed Auditor General. He submitted several reports that have, in some instances, indicted persons who are in public office who have misused public funds. You don't trust the Auditor General to be able to audit the funds that were given to the Agric Ministry to fight this, what you call it, fall armyworm. You don't. You're a member of Parliament. You are a member of the Public Accounts Committee. But it's exciting to come and sit on a public platform like this and throw it out that persons Omni Media did not receive, and you went to inspect their books to determine that no funds were paid to media houses for public education. Let's rise above some of these things. Okay, these are, for me, I get scared. You know, of course, it's important for us to assure the public also that it's not as if this is some disease which is rolling out, killing people. No.
That's so true.
In fact, the mortality rate is about 2%.
Yeah.
Which means that for every 100 persons who get infected, only about 2 people who are in a certain bracket, vulnerable group of elderly persons whose immune system, or if you have some pre-existing condition that weakens your immune system, then you are more susceptible to, dying. But the rate of spread
is what
is scary. And so, yes, it's a serious issue that we all need to be concerned about. But let's not trivialize the work that is being done by such suggestions that you don't trust when you have institutions of state, some of which are headed by people that you appointed. Okay. In the wee hours of your living government. They are still there.
Okay, all right.
You see, the fact about preparedness or no preparedness, I was giving you the typical example. As far back as 2 weeks ago, I did a post on Facebook because I knew individuals who had arrived this country from China and had no screening whatsoever at the airport from China. Okay. I knew individuals who had arrived from Italy. At the time, Italy was battling. No screening whatsoever.
But that cannot be accurate. You and I know, if you travel through Kotoka, even before this pandemic, there's always a screening point to check your temperature.
I think to be fair, I actually heard he was on our show, the Director General of the National Ghana Health Service. He said that we hadn't reached a point where people with the temperature guns and all those things will be deployed, but there are actually temperature machines that you will walk through that will pick your temperature, and you will be stopped if it signals.
Let's get there. I arrived 5 days. I arrived on Sunday. On Saturday night, about 4 or 5 days.
Just this past Saturday,
from the UK. Now, in arriving, there was the temperature thing that has always been there, the heat signature thing that's always been there. Now, if you anybody who understands the COVID-19 knows that I could actually, or any individual could actually host the virus for up to 11 days without showing any symptoms.
That's true.
1. 2, in the past 2 weeks and until after the president's visit last week to Kotoka, you didn't have health service personnel who meet the people off the plane and hand over the forms that are being handed over to them now. When I arrived on Saturday, a form was handed over to me. Again, I raised issues with those forms because the form simply asked me for my seat number, flight number, country I'm arriving from, and if I have been to any other country I should state. When people know the risk of quarantine, you think that people are voluntarily going to indicate to you that I have been to A, B, C country before I arrived? No. Again, we asked the question that.
So then, how would you get that information anyway?
Or what would be the alternative?
Fantastic.
To quarantine everybody who was coming to
So what you need to do is take one of two steps. The US, for example, has banned all flights from Europe. With the exception of the UK, because for them they need to do containment. Okay, look, it's a risk to us with the volumes of people coming in, the potential of a slip into our system, and the effect. And this is the US that has pledged 8.3 billion US dollars to fighting COVID. They are even saying, look, we want to contain, let's not have the risk of anybody coming in. With 8.3 billion, with 100 million, I think that would be a proactive step to take and say, look, at this point in time, one of the proactive steps this government has taken that I will concede is the ban on all foreign travels. Okay, because we don't want anybody going out, meeting people, and coming back home with stuff. That's a proactive step to take. But then, do you want to go beyond that? I asked the question that, look, the ladies, the Ghana Health Service staff who met us off the plane before you go to immigration were there, and they were dealing with individuals. And when not everybody knew, so people were going, then they hold you and pull you back. And then the same person is holding another person using the same gloves. Okay? If you get into contact with a contaminated person, what are the protocols? These are some of the protocols. Look, I'm saying that, look, if we're doing it, let's do it and let's do it right. Okay? Let's go full haul. The other thing you could also do is to decide to deal with every airline coming into Ghana. Airlines that are going to be carrying people who are transit passengers. Take, for example, if I was flying BA and I was coming and I had gone to Holland or I had gone to Italy or Germany or France, where all of this is possible, I would have transited through Heathrow and come on a BA flight. My flight manifest, my boarding pass will just show you that I'm coming from Heathrow. But the airline knows that I'm a transit passenger from here. So we need to be able to have Ghana Civil Aviation to also go beyond what the people are going to declare on their own. On the last issue of accountability or what's not, is Bobo saying that I should sit here and not sound a warning to them not to chop the money? But I should rather allow them chop the money.
You make it sound as if that's what you were doing when you were in government.
I should allow them chop the money.
Your suspicion is that somebody else is doing it.
I should allow them chop the money. After they've chopped the money, digested the money, and done what they want to do with it, and the Auditor General goes there a year or two later, finds the rot, then they will come and sit in front of me and the Public Accounts Committee and explain to me why they chopped the money and how they blew the money.
Well, is that what you were doing when you were in government?
Is that the argument he's making?
Is that what you were doing when you were in government?
The argument I am making here, the whole argument of the Auditor General is moot, and public account is moot. I am saying don't chop the money.
Is that what you were doing when you were in
No,
government?
I'm saying that's what you
So
did.
what
That is
makes
what
you
you
think
did.
that
That is
somebody is
what you
chopping
did.
money?
All right, guys.
But we'll come to one village, one
You
dam.
see,
We'll see the way you
We are
are
actually
putting
coming
money
to
there.
one village, one dam.
Very
We need to
well.
move
Let's
on.
go there.
Okay, so one village, one dam policy. The NDC
If they are chopping, they're not giving you. It
government
means
is
oh,
in
I
I don't think that people go into government to chop
implementation.
money.
Okay, so let me read
No,
the
I
story.
don't believe that.
Please,
Yes.
please,
So
our
you are
viewers,
possibly
let's grant-
chopping, but your mates,
gentlemen,
some of your people are chopping
let's
money.
grant our
And
viewers.
what's the
let's
basis
grant-
for that
no,
transaction?
we need
I'll
to, I
show
need to
you.
read the story. NDC is seeking cheap political points with one village, one dam site visit. This is from the Special Development Ministry. I'll quickly read a short portion of the story. The Ministry for Special Development Initiative has debunked assertions that the dams built under government's One Village, One Dam project are not fit for purpose. It is said by the, claims by the opposition National Democratic Congress that the dams were not properly constructed, were only meant to score cheap political points. The communication director at the Ministry for Special Development Initiative, Kabori Awudumoro, said the dams cited by the NDC had already been declared uncompleted by the government itself. The opposition National Democratic Congress, at its 8th edition of the party's Moment of Truth series held on Wednesday, March 12th, toured 3 of the dam sites in Adibo and Nakpache in the Yendi constituency and at Zapalsi in the Myon constituency. All right, so let me start with you, Sam George. Why did you go there in the first place? What was the visit all about? And was it not, as the Special Development Ministry is saying, not just to score cheap political points?
I'm going to put you as a journalist on the spot here.
Why?
My ranking member on the communication committee, and that's my vice chairman on the communication committee, Bobo. But my ranking member, ABF Husseini, has a saying he always says. He says, it is the shame of the dog if there is a dog in the house. And when strangers come into the house, it is the goat that begins to bleat, and the dog is sleeping.
Okay.
Meaning, you expect a dog to bark when strangers come.
Yes.
Not a goat to bleat.
Okay.
When this government makes haughty claims, fails to fulfill those claims, and the media fails to hold them to strict account by fact-checking them, you leave the opposition to have to do the job of the media, which is what we are doing with our Moment of Truth. They've made claims about One Village, One Dam. How many media houses in this country have decided to go and do a fact-checking expedition, visit it? So we decided to carry the media. Come, at our own cost, we'll take you and go and show you so that you can come and report the truth to the Ghanaian people. And it's not surprising that the Ministry for Special Development, after we have gone to expose the truth, this one is not that we sat in our office in Adabraka and said the dams have become Sahara Desert. We actually took you there. Your own camera saw it. Everybody has seen that the so-called dams have dried up. The first excuse
But they said that they've already declared the dams uncompleted.
Where did they declare them uncompleted? When? Which document? Which public document? When did they declare them? Which ones are completed and which ones are not completed?
Awudumoro says, so is he lying?
Ask Awudumoro. You see, you are waiting for the goat to go and bleat.
No, I'm not waiting for the goat to go and bleat.
So you should have asked Awudumoro or Awudu Kabore that where is the document that lists completed, ongoing, and not started dams? That is what you should be doing as a media man. Not just you, but all your media colleagues. You must be asking him because you pay him with our taxes.
No, but hold on. He's calling you out and saying that you're just
how can he call
cheap
us?
Points.
Call us out
cheap
on
points.
what? At the dam, was that the dam site we went to? Was there water there?
Okay, so what is your response to his claim that the
His
government
claim is
itself
moot,
says
and I'm
these
saying,
are uncompleted?
David, his claim is moot. I'm saying that if he claims that there is a list of completed and uncompleted and that they had previously declared it uncompleted, he should show you which official communication from the Ministry of Special Development listed uncompleted dams so that we realize that these ones are uncompleted in there. And what is the difference between this and the so-called completed ones that they have? We've challenged them to show us one completed dam now. The first explanation that came out from the ministry yesterday was not even that it was not completed. They claimed it was in the dry season, and that's why the dams were dry. And we ask them, but if you construct dams, do you construct dams for rainy season or dry season? Before they came back with this very, very, very empty justification. And let me ask you, his own minister, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. His own minister, Hawa Kumsin, in Parliament, when she was interviewed by the Parliamentary Press Corps, you can ask Duku Furi, he's a member of the Parliamentary Press Corps. Her comments were that if you give her 256,000 Ghana cedis to construct a dam, she cannot construct any meaningful dam. So we've gone to show you the meaningless dams they've constructed. A meaningful dam will hold water in the dry season. A meaningless dam will not hold water. And she said the money given to her could not construct a meaningful dam. So I don't see why anybody in government, the minister herself has admitted that the funds allocated for the dams will not create any meaningful dam. So why are we surprised?
All right, so India. They did a.
Why you have to buy?
They gave a press statement.
In the process.
The NDC gave a press statement. I'm going to read a quick line from there.
It's not necessary.
It says here, for avoidance of doubt, the 1V1D sites we visited in the company of journalists in the Adibo, Nakpachi, and communities in the Inyendi constituency are all completed 1V1D projects. Okay, so
let's just say that they indeed visited 3 completed 1 village, 1 dam sites. Out of 300 or 200 that is contained in the budget as having been complete. What's the percentage?
You want us to go and visit all
Chief,
for you?
Chief, please. Let's just say that is the case. 3 out of 200 and 300 more are in the process of construction.
300 more?
Yes.
Okay.
They're completed, we've been told. And he sits in Parliament. How many times haven't they asked the question of the Minister of Special Development Initiatives to come and provide a list of where the locations and the status of the 1 village, 1 dam?
Has she provided to Parliament?
Look, you see.
What are you talking about?
Look. Unless, of course, you are saying that no question has been asked ever.
Questions have been asked. She's come to answer. Has she provided a detailed list of locations to Parliament? She's not. You are a member of Parliament. Let's not do this, bro.
I recall that one other paper that contained an answer had a list
of all 200.
Of 1 village, 1 dam sites.
That's not true.
Can't remember whether it was this year or last year, and there's number at the time. But the minister has presented a list to Parliament. We can all cross-check. These matters are not. But you see, these are friends. Ghanaians want to listen to your message. What it is that you are going to do for them in the very unlikely event that they vote for you. Because, you see, we have delivered on our promises. There may be issues with some. And the minister has indicated that these ones that you specifically went to visit are not complete. But let's just say they are complete and the water is dried up. People have used it. In some cases, people, of course, the dams are being used.
So basically, the session is
Abdul Mumin of GTV says you guys are not asking questions. Did a tour of the various sites where 1 district, one village, 1 dam have been provided, and it was shown on air. People watched it. Okay, but it's okay. Because you recall what they told us when Baba Jamal told them to amplify matters that do not even exist. Yeah. So you can go to sites that clearly are not complete and go and show, like you did at River Pra. We all remember when you were in government, what the state of the Pra was. But you think everybody has short memory. So, all of a sudden, government has embarked on some galamsey fight and banned outright and lifted the ban and people have gone into the rivers. So it's exciting for you to go back and try and create a certain impression that it was under the Akufo-Addo government that Pra has gotten to the state that it is. But we know the promises that you made to Ghanaians. Your major campaign promises in 2007, 2008, when you were in opposition, was that when you come, you will introduce 110 premium insurance. You never even attempted to do it. That was your promise. You
let's-
promised to build 200 schools in your 2012
If you want us to do a litany of all our promises,
No,
we will
but
do that. We can do that
you are
here.
now going off course.
I'm not going off course.
Respond to the one village, one dam
Listen
sham.
to the press statement. They say that government promised one village, one dam only to drive votes, and that promise has not been delivered. And I'm telling you that you are an so-called alternative or government in opposition. You made promises to the people of Ghana that you're going to build 200 schools. How many did you build?
123.
You built 120. How many did you complete?
77 were completed.
Fantastic. So if we promised to build dams and we have built some,
Where? How many?
the
Where? How
finance
many?
minister announced in the 2020 budget statement that 200 dams have been completed.
And we have challenged that, Bobo.
Where did you challenge it?
In the debates. Look,
Look,
you see, I'll get my ribbon,
You
so
see,
let me just keep
it's
quiet.
important to,
Yeah, we ran out
for
of
us
time,
to
so.
situate these matters in proper context. I cannot sit here and say that there are no faults with any of the dams that have been constructed. Indeed, the minister has indicated that some of the contractors did not do a good job, and so they've asked them to go back because they haven't paid them. To put them in a state that is satisfactory. And so if you go and visit 3 out of 200, assuming that the 3 are even part of those that have been completed, what are you doing? Is it not cheap politicking that you are doing?
All right.
Let me-
Go
let
to
me-
all the,
let- let
all
me-
the 200
let-
sites and
yeah,
come and tell us
very
that there's
briefly.
no
Very-
dam
very-
across this
You
country.
see, I'll tell you what.
Very
And I have a list
He
of
keeps,
the,
he keeps
the
talking.
ranking member that you mentioned.
He keeps
His
talking.
constituency.
He keeps talking. He
With
keeps talking
pictures.
about projects and promises and referring to the budget. That same budget, this one village, one dam, comes under what they call the IPEP projects. Okay, and they gave an appendix in the budget, 2020 budget, with list of places in Ningo Pram Pram, the 1 million per constituency. They claim that they have built 3 public toilets and 3 boreholes for the 3 years, $3 million. Now we
not
have
true.
challenged. I
That's
have
not true.
challenged that as member of parliament for Ningo Pram Pram, that there is not even one single borehole because you cannot even drill boreholes in Ningo Pram Pram. Reason being, in Ningo Pram Pram, because of the waterbed and our proximity to the sea, any borehole you drill there is salty. They have not been able to show us where they have drilled one borehole, but in the budget,
You want me to
they
show
have
you the
written-
ones that have been
in the
built in my
budget.
constituency?
In the budget, they have
One was
stated
built
in
at
the
the
budget,
Dam,
they
one
have
was built at
stated
St. John's
that they
Square,
have
one was
drilled
built at
boreholes
Pigai.
in Ningo Pram Pram. They have stated that they built 3 public toilets. Even
You want me
though
to show you
those
where they
should
are
not
built in my
exist in
constituency?
Ningo Pram
All
Pram.
right. So I need to read a few comments from.
So
from
it is
our
the same
You are
way
saying
the
that
one village,
there are-
one dam-
There are false claims in the budget.
Plenty.
Okay. All right. Let
And
me just read.
we've established those things,
Let-
and I'm speaking relative
Okay.
to my constituency.
Let me
If for
read.
$3 million,
Please,
you
let
say
me-
you
for
can
the-
get
for the
three
sake of our
three
viewers, let me
boreholes
read.
and 3
Yeah.
toilets, and you can't even show me where they are.
All right, let me. Boti Benjamin
Go to
from
my
Echep
constituency and look
Ebuakwa
at the community
says,
developments that we are doing with that
the
$1
level
million.
of commitment and preparedness of this government in the fight
Community
against the
centers
deadly
that are being built.
coronavirus is beyond
Well, look.
reach. It is time that we all come on board to prevent it from entering our shores. Ghana first. Good morning, Kweku. $100 million to enhance coronavirus preparedness. It is wrong to waste that whooping sum on COVID-19. Anyway, 4 more for Nana. A.U. Farouk from Tamale North says the president should rather put measures in place than to give a nation address. Most Ghanaians don't know how to protect themselves from coronavirus. # Breakfast Daily. Well, thank you very much. I want to say a big thank you to my guests, all of whom I have had the honor of hosting for the first time today. Sam Nate George, who's the MP of Ningo Pram Pram.
Where we are still waiting for our share of the $1 million.
And then Andrew Mercer, who is the MP for 2nd D. Thank you very much for watching this segment of the show.
But you know, he said a very important thing. He said Ghanaians are waiting for our message. It means Ghanaians have lost hope in this government. That is all it means. But if they were fixated on this government, they won't want to take a different message.
I know
If
Jerry.
you have a boyfriend, if you have a boyfriend,
Thank you very much for watching this segment of the show. And thank you to my guests.
Hi there. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share with all of your friends. This is Breakfast Daily on City TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.